It's game week 13 in the Premier League and we're about to see first versus second as Liverpool will host Manchester City. But I'm going to talk you through all the games and my predictions. Get yours in the comments down below. Welcome to the Footy Network. Afternoon everybody, hope you're doing well and welcome to the Footy Network and welcome to game week 13 in the Premier League. As we said, there's going to be a few tasty fixtures this weekend and I'm going to talk you through how I think they're going to go. And I want your predictions in the comments down below for the big one, Liverpool versus Manchester City. If you're enjoying the content, please don't forget to hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the Footy Network if you are new. And let's jump in to the first game of the weekend. The first game of the weekend takes us to the Amex Stadium as Brighton will host Southampton. And Brighton are flying really high right now in the Premier League. 5th in the league after beating Bournemouth last weekend. And they will take on bottom of the league Southampton, who've just for a split second looked like they could have caused one of the biggest upsets of the season so far when they took on Liverpool and took the lead as well. But they are really in trouble right now, are Southampton. And this for me is do or die for them. If they want any hope of closing the gap between them and the teams above them, they have to go here and at least get a point. But the writing seems like it's on the wall for the Saints right now. And Brighton in fine form. It will be very hard to beat them at the Amex right now. And I have to go with a home win here. I'm going to go Brighton 2, Southampton 1. In this one, I hope I'm wrong because I do want the Saints to survive. The second game of the weekend takes us to the West Midlands and Molineux will be the venue as Wolves will host Bournemouth. Wolves who are starting to turn their form around, and you have to attribute this to one key player, and that's Cunha. Cunha is absolutely on fire now, scoring 2 fantastic goals last weekend as Wolves won away at Fulham by a huge margin of 4 goals to 1. I think Wolves are starting to look a bit better right now. And in terms of Bournemouth, a defeat against Brighton, doing okay in the table, in and around mid-table, but it feels to me like they're in a little bit of a slump. Although I think they're still playing well, I just don't think they're getting themselves over the line. And this game, I think, is going to be a tough one for them. I can see Wolves building some momentum between now and Christmas as the fixtures get a little bit better for them. And I'm going to back them to win this one too. I'm going to go for a home win here. I'm going Wolves 2, Bournemouth 0. What do you guys think? Selhurst Park in South London will be our next venue as Crystal Palace will host Newcastle United, and both teams coming into this match in slightly varying form. Crystal Palace, who I thought were unlucky not to beat Aston Villa last weekend, are coming probably feeling a little better, but not good in terms of their position in the league. And in terms of Newcastle, their inconsistency is starting to get very strange. Beating Forest, beating Arsenal, and then losing to arguably one of the worst teams in the league in West Ham. What can you expect from this game? This game is so confusing to me that I'm just going to sit on the fence because I'm not sure either way. I could see each team winning this one, or either team winning this one, should I say. But I'm going to go with a draw. I'm going to go Crystal Palace 1, Newcastle 1. Just can't separate them. The world famous City Ground will be the venue for the next game as Forest will host Ipswich Town in this clash at Saturday. And this is a big one. Forest have slumped in the last couple of games, losing to both Newcastle and then Arsenal, who absolutely taught them a lesson, especially with Odegaard. Will take on Ipswich, who have had a decent set of results in recent weeks. Okay, the wins aren't flowing through, but the performances are a lot better and they are starting to grab some points. Ipswich took Manchester United to a draw, and I would argue they should have won that game with a fantastic goal from Hutchinson. But this one is probably a step too far for them. I think Forest will reassess, hit that reset button and get themselves back on track and I can see a comfortable home win here. I'm going big on this scoreline. I'm going Forest 3, Ipswich 0. No bias in this whatsoever. What do you guys think? The BTEC Stadium in West London will host the next match as Brentford will take on Leicester City. And just before we get into this game, please don't forget to check out the sponsors of the video, Surfshark, where you can get your VPN with 84% off, as well as 4 additional months for completely free, which you can use on Netflix to unlock all the box sets that we don't get here in the UK as they do in America. So go check it out by scanning this QR code or click on the link that's pinned in the comments below and use code FFTV. Okay, let's get into this game. Leicester City travelling away from home, and under Steve Cooper, that would normally mean a defeat. However, they have now sacked him and have an interim manager in charge, while rumours state that Ruud van Nistelrooy will be the new replacement. As the time of recording this video, it still has not been confirmed. And with Brentford's Norgard having been sent off against Everton last weekend, that's now been overturned, so he'll be able to return to this match. Under normal circumstances, I would probably go for a home win here, but with the new manager bounce, or the interim manager bounce, I kind of fancy an away win here. I'm going to go Brentford 0, Leicester 1 on this one. Let's see if the new manager bounce is a thing. The London Stadium in East London will host the next match as West Ham will take on Arsenal. And are Arsenal back, having beaten Forest 3-0 at the weekend and then beating Sporting 5-1 away from home yesterday. This is starting to look like Arsenal have got themselves back on track after the reset in the international break. However, West Ham have beaten Newcastle with a goal coming from none other than Wan-Bissaka, and that has helped steady the ship there. I think Arsenal are back on track, and the key man for them has been Odegaard's return. With him back pulling the strings, they finally have some creativity in that attacking final third, and I think they'll probably have too much for West Ham here. So I'm going to go for an away win. But this one could be a bit of a banana skin if West Ham are going to perform the same way they did against Newcastle. But I'm going to go West Ham 0, Arsenal 2 on this one. What do you guys think? Let's go to Stamford Bridge for the next match in West London as Chelsea will host Aston Villa. And Chelsea is starting to put a nice little bit of run of form together, having beaten Leicester last weekend quite comfortably, even though the scoreline didn't reflect it. It's clear to see that Enzo Maresca is now getting his identity across to his players, and we are starting to see that on the pitch. Completely opposite though is Emre. Right now Aston Villa can't buy a win in the Premier League and are struggling just to get points as they did last weekend against Crystal Palace. They need a result and they need one desperately, and going to Stamford Bridge is probably not the fixture that the faithful Villa fans would like to have had this weekend. So I'm looking at this one and I think this could be a comfortable win to Chelsea. I just don't think Villa are in the right mindset right now when it comes to their Premier League football. So I'm going to go for a comfortable, believe it or not, home win on this one. I'm going to go Chelsea 3, Aston Villa 1. What do you guys think? Can Emre turn it back around and get Villa back on track? Let me know your thoughts. The Tottenham Hotspur Stadium will be our next point of call. There's a lot of games in London this weekend as Tottenham will host Fulham. And this is going to be interesting as Tottenham are coming off the back of arguably their best win of the season, going up to Man City's home ground and slapping them by 4 goals. It was unbelievable to see. Fulham though are in a little bit of a slump, having held 4 themselves last weekend, losing by 4 goals to 1 to Wolves. They will need to bounce back quickly. But has Postecoglou finally figured out how to take the Spursiness out of Spurs? Because they seem to be one of the most inconsistent sides this season, losing to teams you'd expect them to beat and beating teams you'd expect them to lose. And you could say Fulham are following a similar pattern. Not many would have had them to get thumped by Wolves last weekend. This one I think is going to be a tight match. I don't know what the Spursiness will do this weekend. So I'm going to sit on the fence on this one. And I'm going to go Spurs 1, Fulham 1. What do you guys think? Old Trafford is the next venue this weekend as Manchester United will host Everton up in the northwest, and Amorim will take charge of his first home Premier League game. Having not been able to get the points against Ipswich, will he be able to get a manager bounce at home as he takes on Sean Dyche's Everton, who are without a single goal this calendar month in the league so far? But they have been getting a couple of draws. This one I think is going to be quite a dry and boring match. Dyche is under pressure right now. There are rumours he may be losing his job soon, but there's been rumours of that happening for the last year or so, yet he still finds a way to survive. I think this is going to be a dull and dire match, and I don't think there'll be many goals. In fact, I'm going for a third 0-0 draw in a row for Everton. I'm going to go Manchester United 0, Everton 0 on this one. And I don't know if I'm going to tune into it. What do you guys think? Let's stay in the northwest and head up to Anfield, home of Liverpool, as Liverpool will host Manchester City in arguably the tie of the weekend. First versus second, but Manchester City are 6 without a win right now, having blown a 3-goal lead midweek in the Champions League. This is now turning into a bit of a crisis for Pep, and he's been scratching himself up about it. But Liverpool just about scraped over the line against Southampton, and you have to say that if they win this game, surely that puts Manchester City too far behind to claw back the deficit in this one. But we've seen Man City go into robot mode post-Christmas and get W after W after W. And maybe, just maybe, Pep's trying to make this league race a little more interesting. I don't think Pep can afford to lose this one, but I don't think they have enough to beat Liverpool at Anfield. I think they'll just about scrape a draw in an entertaining draw. I'm going to go for Liverpool 2, Manchester City 2. What do you guys think? And that is your fixtures for the weekend. I'm looking forward to seeing your predictions in the comments down below, so get those in. Let me know how you think your club is going to fare this weekend. If you've enjoyed the content and haven't already, please don't forget to hit that like button. Make sure if you're new here, you subscribe to the Footy Network, and we'll see you on next week's video. Have a great weekend.